At first glance, this looks impossible. A tower covered in buns, rising straight into the night sky. No safety nets, no second chances. The bun climbing competition is not about luck. It is about speed, balance, and absolute control. Climbers sprint upward, grabbing buns in seconds, while gravity pulls them back down. Every move matters. One mistake can end everything. The crowd watches in silence, because this is not entertainment alone. This is pressure, skill, and nerve combined. Winning is decided in moments, but preparation takes months. Here, courage is measured in meters, and focus decides who reaches the top. This is tradition turned extreme, and only the calmest climber survives. At first it feels unreal. Bright colors, loud laughter, and symbols that shock instantly. But Connemara Matsuri is more than what it looks like. This festival is centuries old. What seems strange today was once about protection, health, and belief. People didn't come here to provoke. They came to pray, to ask for safety, and to honor tradition. The streets fill with massive symbolic floats, carried proudly through the crowd. There is no shame here, only openness, acceptance, and cultural honesty. Locals and visitors walk together, laughing, photographing, and celebrating without fear of judgment. Everything is public, everything is allowed. Connemara Matsuri challenges comfort zones. It forces people to confront culture without filters. And that is exactly why it survives. This festival isn't about shock. It's about freedom, history, and a society unafraid of symbolism. At first glance, it looks like total chaos. Flour fills the air, eggs explode, firecrackers echo through the streets. But Els Unfarinats is not disorder. It is controlled madness. Once a year, normal rules are suspended. Participants dress like soldiers, forming a mock government for a single day. They take over the town, symbolically. What follows looks wild, but every action has meaning. The mess represents rebellion. The noise represents release. The chaos represents balance. People don't fight out of anger. They fight as tradition. Everyone knows the rules, even when pretending there are none. By the end, the town is covered in white, laughing, exhausted, and united. Money collected during the event goes to charity. Els Unfarinas proves something powerful. Sometimes, chaos is not destruction. Sometimes, it is tradition wearing a mask. It begins quietly, before the first splash. People gather dressed in white, carrying buckets, bottles, and hoses filled with red wine. Then, without warning, the battle starts. Wine flies through the air. The ground turns crimson. Laughter replaces words. Battaglia del Vino is not about drinking. It is about release. For one day, rules loosen, and the town becomes a moving canvas of red. There are no winners, no teams, only participation. Strangers soak each other without anger. Locals and visitors become equal, covered head to toe in the same color. By the end, clothes are stained, faces are smiling, and the town slowly returns to normal. Battaglia del Vino shows a simple truth. Sometimes celebration is not silence. Sometimes it's letting go, together. At first it looks playful, almost harmless. People gather with one simple object in their hands. Melons, not to eat, not to sell, but to throw. The Chinchilla Melon Festival turns an ordinary fruit into pure chaos. Melons explode on impact. Juice splashes through the air. Streets become slippery, loud, and wild. There is no target, no score, only momentum. Locals and visitors ward off as they dodge, slip, and get completely soaked. What starts as fun quickly becomes uncontrollable. This festival is not about tradition alone. It is about absurd freedom. a moment where logic takes a step back and chaos is allowed to exist. By the end, the streets are destroyed, clothes are ruined, and everyone is exhausted. Chinchilla proves one thing clearly. Sometimes festivals don't need meaning, they just need energy. This is not celebration. This is endurance. Thaipusam is a test of faith, where pain becomes a path, not something to escape. Devotees walk barefoot across burning embers, their faces calm, their bodies pushed beyond limits. Some carry heavy metal structures, hooks piercing skin, chains pulling with every step. There is no cheering, only drums, chants, and controlled breathing. Fire burns beneath their feet, yet they move forward without hesitation. Not because it doesn't hurt, but because belief is stronger than pain. This festival is not about spectacle, it is about discipline, about surrender, about control over the body and mind. Crowds watch in silence, knowing this is not entertainment. Thaipusam shows a raw truth. When belief is absolute, even fire loses its power. Subscribe for more real-world festivals.